He's definitely hungover still, isn't he?
He is, isn't he?
This is a little bit hungover still.
This is just another retrocast. This is our podcast that's released on a Thursday. We also have another podcast that's released on a Tuesday, don't we, Paul?
Yes, we do.
What's that one called?
Oh, what's it called, Ross?
It's called the snooze button.
Ah, yes.
Anything inventive we can say?
Nah, just listen
Just
to
get
it.
on with it, shall we?
Get listened or I'll come round with my bone.
Your bone? What bone's that?
A lucky charm.
Oh, you might have to listen to...
Yeah, listen to our previous.
People might be worried you might turn up with a cock out or something.
Some people pay good money for that. So
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Just Another Retrocast with Mr. Paul Brown.
Hello there.
Mr. Ross Murphy.
Hello.
And me, Chris Quinton. This week we're going to be continuing our theme of Are They Ruining Our Childhood? Because we started that one before, didn't we? So, but we ended up just chatting about what we'd really like them to do, and I say them, what we'd really like Hollywood to produce and related individuals, instead of the actual subject matter. So yeah, time to revisit. So what I've done is I've compiled a list of all the stuff that's coming out in the next couple of years, either as a reboot or a fresh take on something that was popular when we were kids.
Yep.
And we can have a little chat about them.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say about Are They Ruining Our Childhood?
Yep.
Since we started recording this podcast, I've realised they're not ruining our childhoods. We all ruined our own childhoods.
What do you mean?
Well, it's fucking getting not the right toys and stuff.
Yeah.
Ah, I see.
Giving a shit about all this.
Like requesting the wrong ones on our Christmas lists. Is that what you mean?
No, just clearly pointing at the wrong one on the advert.
Oh, I see. Like your Zoid, for instance.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
They're not ruining our childhood. They can't take that away from us. I've always said that. Like, if they make a sequel to The Goonies, it doesn't make The Goonies worse, does it?
No, it doesn't.
No.
It's only the title to the show. It's not
Yeah.
like I believe that they're actually... if you want to watch the original, watch the original.
But there are scores of people on the internet who are permanently believe that, don't they?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's sort of
I mean,
dirtying the universe.
Aye.
I think Kingdom of Crystal Skull might be one of the worst films I've ever seen. It just doesn't... I just pretend it doesn't exist.
You can always buy the trilogy box set.
No, you can't. You have to buy them as a 4-set, but you can always
If you're going to buy a new...
You can always throw
new.
the Kingdom of Crystal Skull away from your Blu-ray set, like I did.
You'll forever have a horrible empty space in your set, though, won't you?
No, because it is full of 3 of the finest movies ever made. It's like what you're saying there is if you get the best cheesecake ever and then put a layer of icing that's made out of shit, and then you go, actually, I'll scrape all of that shit icing off and then go back to the most perfect cheesecake ever. You don't go, I wish I had that icing back on it. You go, that's the best cheesecake ever.
I think what he means, though, for the OCD of us out there, though, that space is forever. So suppose you just get one of the good films and just double up on it. Put a director's cut in there.
It would depend on the type of box set.
Yeah.
If it's like the thick cardboard type where you can see them all spine on, that's an issue for me.
That would wind me up, yeah.
No, it's one of those, it's more like a book. It's like you'd have to unfold the whole thing to even see that and then flick through it.
So
it's
if
like
you just superglued that part down.
Just don't worry about it. Know that it hasn't got Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in, and that will sort any OCD you'll have out. You'll just go, right, it hasn't got one of the shittest films ever made.
But it'll be listed on the back.
What I don't get
out in Biro.
What I don't get about that film is, having recently watched some more Spielberg, or rewatched some more Spielberg, I don't know how that man made that film.
In what way?
Well, he's one of the finest directors, if not the finest director, with breath in his lungs.
Yeah, but he's had faltering moments, hasn't he?
Learning curves.
So, look at War of the Worlds.
It's all right.
Bad.
It's not bad. It's all right.
It's not what I want from War of the Worlds.
No,
but it deserves more.
We have a weird little thing where we're way more entrenched in the original story.
Yeah, and for this reason, I'm quite worried about how Ready Player One is going to be received actually.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that they can. We should probably do a whole part on this at some point. Maybe when we've got Adam here.
We need to We need to all at least Have you listened to Ready Player One?
Nope.
Just listen to the audiobook. I've got
it.
Yeah,
on.
cool.
I've got it on here.
Yeah, and Paul. I tell you now, you will love every single thing about it.
Wicked.
Because it's literally just the world's biggest jizz fest. Oh, the 80s. It's worse than this podcast. It's like, oh, just come on the 80s. and it's just fantastic. But that's not why it's good. It's the world building, and the technology that the whole book's wrapped around, and the post, because also it's bookended by it's wrapped in a layer of like dystopian fucking horrible future as well, which is another thing that everyone loves. So,
yeah, true.
Yeah.
Or,
but
like,
it's,
I particularly like, and I think we all do probably to some extent.
Not that I've read the written version, but it's it's not the greatest prose in the world, but there's a lot of substance.
Did we say on last week's podcast? It's not as like Harry Potter's a really well written like book of similar sort of like fantasy, but Ready Player One is not patched on it in the way it's written, but it's just there's so much in it. You just be like, I've just come in my pants because they talked about Atari.
Definitely substance over style, but yeah, we will definitely revisit Ready Player One. We've got to talk about what the differences are to expect and some of what the actors have been saying as well, because that's a meaty subject for another time.
Cool. I'll look forward to that.
So, should we get on with this Are They Ruining Our Childhood business?
Yeah, let's find out.
Should I just crack on with the list and we'll just break into the ones that you want to talk about, shall we?
Yeah, throw one at me.
So, the Ghostbusters, the reboot is being made into a trilogy. I think we've just said about that quite recently on the podcast anyway.
Have you, while we're talking about that, has anyone seen the Red Letter Media review of it? You know, the Red Letter Media do I can't remember his name. You know those really good reviews on the Star Wars prequels?
No.
Never seen them. Right, okay. No. I posted it on our link, and I'll post it on our page. They review these movies, but they produce it, and it's played by there's a character, and they did this one on The Phantom Menace, and it blew up, and now they've just reviewed Ghostbusters 2016.
Right.
And it just tells you, it's just basically like the reason that film's bad is because Sony make bad films.
Yeah.
Basically. And like every decision that was made was just a fucking stupid studio decision.
Right.
And that's why that film sucks balls.
Fair enough. I think it happens with quite a lot of studios. I say quite a lot of studios. There aren't that many massive studios that really fuck up people's films, are there? Well, Disney do it.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah,
Warner
Paramount
Brothers
is
do
Transformers is Paramount.
Is that Paramount?
I think it's Paramount.
But yeah, that's Michael Bay's doing, isn't it? Surely.
Who
Oh,
knows?
it must be 3 weeks since we fucking had a bad
that.
thing to say about Michael Bay. Bloke's an idiot. No, it's all right. I keep sticking up for him at the moment, going, I quite like the island.
Yeah.
Right. The Labyrinth, the sequel.
So, what's the latest on that?
It's being made.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's going to be based on the comic books. So it's like Toby as an older boy going back into the labyrinth, possibly to become the Goblin King. So, yeah.
See, for me...
So Toby's Jared?
It could potentially become...
Potentially, yeah.
Is that a fucking fan theory?
No, it's
in the comic book.
It's in the comics.
Right.
I think. I'm going by memory here. It's been quite a long time since we talked about it, but yeah. Yay? Nay?
I'm on board with that. It's in addition to the original story.
Yep.
And if it depends how it's presented and how they tackle it. I think that's what the crux of this whole thing is. Is it going to ruin our childhood? I think is it going to spoil the illusion we were left with from the original?
The only thing that I think is absolutely 100% essential is that it is puppets.
Yep.
It's animatronics.
Yep, that's the world they created for that, and that's what works.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm on board with that. Ghostbusters... I haven't got any time for it. I know it's a different Ghostbusters. It's not a Ghostbusters I'm interested in. It's got the same title, but apart from that, it has nothing in relation to...
I've got absolutely no interest.
Yeah.
After having watched Ghostbusters 2016, I genuinely couldn't care less.
Just don't want to sit through another one. Right, Dark Crystal, Netflix prequel.
Do you know what? This isn't good for me because I was never a fan of the original.
No?
No.
It's. I said this before on the podcast that it's quite laborious, but it's definitely worth a watch because it's a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to get through the whole film. It's quite slow.
The pace is just very difficult, yeah.
There we are. But there are...
It's like top drawer Jim Henson, isn't it?
Yeah. And there are hardcore fans that absolutely love it. So you can all rest assured that they are definitely using puppets for this prequel.
Oh, yes. There's a sizzle trailer, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Show
With
the
the
Jim Henson
skirtsy
workshop.
Akira. That's definitely happening. Well, at some point, if they can
Live action?
sort their shit out, yeah.
It could work.
I think we're at a point now where I may have said this. Oh, fuck, I'm so bored. I cannot remember what I've ever said on a podcast, but I just know my brain only thinks about 4 things at once. It's probably taken till now till you could make Akira.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
I think Ghost in the Shell proved that
It could be done.
You can do futuristic Neo Tokyo, can't you now?
True.
On the right, as long as you put the right amount of money into it.
Have you read Akira the comic book?
No, I've seen the original animation, but...
Okay. The animation is like the first of 6 books.
Right.
So it goes way beyond that story. Interestingly as well. So we'll see what they do with the movie. I mean, the screenwriter, it's the guy, he's one of the front runners for Daredevil on Netflix, so that's all right. That's quite good news.
Front runners or showrunners?
Showrunners, sorry.
Yeah.
And the director is the guy that did Get Out, Jordan Peele.
Yeah, Get Out's good.
It's very good,
Very
isn't
good
it?
film.
So positive things
like that,
attached
Paul
to it.
Yeah, I need to check that one out. I keep hearing it bandied about, but I haven't seen it yet.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
I don't... See, this is the thing. I think this is another thing that people touch on when they say, oh, it's ruined our childhood. It's a case of, does it need doing?
Does it? Yeah, it's quite recent. The main actor is still very much...
He's still very much around. He's gone off the charts a little bit. Recently,
well, he's gone mental, hasn't he?
Completely bonkers. But I mean, let's face it.
Has he actually lost the plot?
A little bit. He's not quite Crispin Glover, but he's. I think he's gone a little bit off.
He's doing a lot of. He's doing a lot of sort of talks and lectures now on the brain journey.
All right.
Yeah, to the other dimension.
Oh, really?
Yeah, interdimensional brain journeys.
Ooh.
A goose.
Yeah, using certain drugs.
Oh.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay, worth reading up on.
Yeah.
Alien Nation?
What the hell is Alien Nation?
It depends. If they elaborate on the original,
yeah,
I mean, Alien Nation was a good film of its kind. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't amazing. It was a good, interesting film. Then they did a TV series, didn't they?
They did, yeah, I remember that.
What the hell is Alien Nation?
It's the one where aliens have come to Earth. It's like District 9, where some ship has just sort of like accidentally landed here.
Only a bit more accessible, isn't it? It's the aliens look a bit more humanoid and they speak English,
and they've
which
integrated
is handy,
into society. So Alien Nation, when the story starts, they've already been on Earth for like 20 years or something, and one of the main characters is a cop, and he's just getting one of the aliens as a...
Channel 4, Channel 5 it was on, wasn't it? A TV series, wasn't it?
I thought it was a
Bit
BBC-ish thing.
I know, I'm thinking of like Intergalactic Space Precinct or whatever that was
Space
called.
Precinct you're thinking, yeah. No, it's similar sort of idea as that. I just don't think it's got much mileage, that story, to be honest with you.
What was the drug called? They had some sort of a crystal thing.
It was like narc, wasn't it? But not.
Crades.
Yeah.
They broke it open.
What's the drug called in RoboCop 2?
Narc.
Nuke, isn't it?
Nuke. Yes, it is nuke. It is. They break it and sniff it, don't they?
Do you remember what kills the aliens in Alien Nation?
No.
Nuke.
Salt water.
Oh, that's easy then.
So you just get a super soaker, go down the beach, fill it up, and then you could just spray people's...
Fucked.
So yeah.
It's like a really bad acid attack.
Yep.
American Werewolf in London.
They redid this recently, didn't they?
They did a sequel, American Werewolf in Paris, didn't they?
They did, but didn't they do American Werewolf in London again recently?
I think it's been rebooted.
I think it has, and I just don't see the
Well,
point.
it's a horror film. All horror films have been rebooted about 3 times each, haven't they?
I don't think they've done American Werewolf in London.
you're outvoted 2-1, by the way.
Where's my phone?
66% of this room.
You keep talking.
66% of this room think that they've done, or did it have a TV show? Who knows? Chris is looking it up on his phone, which is always the best part of recording this podcast, because he's the host.
It's a bit everyone loves.
He's the one that drives it forward. So if he stops,
we're left nattering about nothing.
It's all right. You're filling the air quite well. That's
we're just talking about bumpkins and.
But does it need doing?
Gruffle huffles.
I don't think it needs doing. I think the original movie stands up really well today.
Does it still? Are they trying to?
It won Oscars for its practical effects.
It did, and its story was good. But is that what today's market are looking for? See, this is the thing. Are they trying to cash in on today's youth, which are going to want something very different from that same film?
The thing that I love about the original is it's a comedy, and people lose. Like you don't remember it as a comedy, and if you go back and watch it as an adult, it will become very apparent.
Do you know, I found that even as a kid, certain sections were very funny. I like the whole cinema scene.
Yeah, that's the comic bit. Yeah, the guy turning up who's dead. Yeah. He's like, just fucking kill yourself already. Yeah, and he's turning up with all the rest of the people that he's killed and things, and it's dark humour, like you say, but it's very well done.
It's quite a romantic film, really, in that sense. Yeah, not in a kind of romantic kissy way. I mean, it's a romantic concept.
More of a
I
kind
think
of.
You're right. I know there was that weird sort of sequel made 20 years later, but there was no reboot.
There's no reboot of American Werewolf in London.
The Paris one was bollocks. I can tell you.
Yeah,
that.
it was bad.
I ended up watching that, and it was dreadful.
Something to do with jumping off the Eiffel Tower at some point.
It's probably
weird.
I sort of blocked it out.
Big Man Japan. Do you remember that?
Big Man Japan New.
Some guy that's he turns into a big kaiju hunting force of nature, and he's an outcast from all of his buddies because they're kind of aware that this is happening.
I don't know it, but this is a concept that every show from Japan has had since the 60s.
Right, okay.
And it seems to be the staple diet. I don't have a problem with that being rebooted over and over and over again, personally. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got Ultraman, you've got... I can't even think, just at the top of my head at the moment, there's so many where even Spider-Man in Japan has a giant mech robot.
It does, yeah. Leopardon or something.
It's Leopardon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And, it's just bizarre. You just need giant, changey mecha. I mean, it's where Power Rangers came from.
Do you know where I learnt about that?
Go on.
Ready Player One.
Really?
Yeah, that's the robot that he gets the robot as a prize at some point. So he gets a giant mech to use, and he chooses Leopardon.
Yeah. It's an underrated mecha.
Will Wheaton read it as Leopardon, I think.
It's a cool spaceship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who doesn't want a big Sphinx as a spacecraft?
Yeah, well, the arch enemy bad guy ends up with bloody Mecha Godzilla. So,
you're in trouble then.
Yeah. There we are. Right. So, again, that's talking about Ready Player One. Another podcast, folks. Another podcast. Right, going back to stuff that perhaps we would have spoken about in our action films.
Ah, right, yeah.
Like Bloodsport, Blue Thunder, Cliffhanger, Blade. All getting remakes.
Cliffhanger, yeah. I don't mind another, because it will interest me, because it will be about mountain climbing and stuff, and I'll be on board with that.
What about Rambo without Stallone?
I can't see it personally, because he is. They're just the same. You can you?
I can imagine it being quite relevant now. I still can imagine the wrong person walking into the wrong town in America, and you being able to tell a story about that today.
Yeah.
And I don't think it needs to be Stallone. I think weirdly Stallone was at that point in his career where he suited that first film, but then by the time he made Rambo 2 and 3, that character had evolved, and he had evolved. So he was the big blockbuster action hero by that point, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and that's why the other two films are so grossly different to the first one.
Yeah.
Well, 4 in total.
Yeah, true. But it's happening.
I wouldn't mind seeing a reboot of First Blood.
It'd have to be...
This one's being called... Sorry, go on.
So I was going to say, if it was done as well as and respectfully as well as the first one, because let's face it, it's an action. It's not just an action flick, is it?
No.
The first film has got a lot to say, and it's very well acted, and it's very well put together.
True.
And as long as it's not just, let's go with the concept of Rambo, and what it eventually became, that sort of full, all-on action hero type of thing.
Yeah.
If they went with, as Ross said, if it was the concept of the wrong person in the wrong place and how it's dealt with, that could be really interesting. Yeah,
fair enough.
Get Denzel Washington to basically be his character from Book of Eli, walking and having to stay in clan territory.
Well, wasn't it Denzel Washington who did the
Equalizer,
which was a similar sort of idea, really?
There's a sequel of that being planned.
Is there?
Yeah, there is.
See, I didn't think that would work without Edward Woodward, but it did.
Woodward.
Edward Woodward. And it did. Right. And again, the Equalizer intrinsically is Edward Woodward. He was perfect for that role. He was terrifying.
Stubby white guy, isn't it? Stubby white guy, isn't it? Edward Woodward.
Built, stubby white guy who you wouldn't necessarily be scared of, but then when he loses it, you think, oh, fuck.
And then they choose Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington, who's built and you still want to fucking mess with anyway.
Yeah, true.
No, I think he did a great role in that, and yeah, it could really work.
Cool. Rambo is called New Blood.
New Blood?
Yes. Anyway.
Cool.
The Craft and The Crow, they're both getting reboots.
I fucking hate both of those films.
Yeah. I love The Crow.
And I was never into The Craft.
I was into the girls in The Craft.
Yeah, but the whole... I think it could work today. I mean, it seems to the past 10 years, it's been a huge thing, hasn't it? The Supernatural's been a big goer. I was watching something just recently this week. I just discovered it was a BBC production, Being Human, and it's a bit trashy, but it's a bit fun. It's interesting. It's all right.
It's like a werewolf, a ghost, and a vampire.
It's basically a British take on True Blood.
A werewolf, a ghost, and a vampire walk into a bar.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And it literally is, because they live in an old pub, don't they? It's a converted pub. Yeah. So it's again, if they do, it could be interesting. I don't mind revisiting these ideas. The Crow, I don't know. It is intrinsically part of that. If you're a moody goth in the 90s, it's part of your growing up, isn't it? It's part of your thing.
If you want to wear a black, long trench coat and shoot up your high school, probably make sure you watch at least The Crow.
At least that, before you blow yourself, blow your brains out.
Personally, I think one of those films will work with modern filmmaking and the other one is less likely to. Unfortunately, I think The Craft is more likely to work.
Yeah, I agree.
Me and Paul used to just know somebody that wore a black trench coat so much that we just nicknamed him Columbine.
Columbine?
Yeah.
He looked like he was just going to pull something out and take everybody out.
There was another guy,
He might have just been really into the Matrix, but he looked like a serial killer.
A guy 2 years above me at school used to wear a black trench coat and used to go out on a Friday night in cows with his face painted up as the Crow. Like, or I suppose, bloody Alice Cooper.
Did you ever see the guy who used to walk around Newport dressed as RoboCop?
What? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. When I first moved down here back in 2001, I heard about it and went, whatever. And I stood, what's the shop that's, it sells mature gentlemen's clothes. It's on the street corner and faces the cenotaph thing, they sell lots of old guys rule t-shirts and things. You'd know the one. Anyway, there's a crossing there.
Right.
And it crosses over to the other side of the road where you've got Topshop and the rest of it.
Right.
And I was just stood there minding my own business waiting to cross, and I just turned to my right, and there he is. Yeah, in full RoboCop mode.
Amazing.
Yeah, quite impressive. Saw him a couple of times after that as well. So there you go.
Anywho.
Characters. I wonder if the new RoboCop spoiled his childhood.
Maybe.
If you're out there, write and let us know.
I've heard it's so bad. I've never watched it.
It's dreadful.
It's
really missed it.
Is it as bad as RoboCop 3, though?
Yeah, it's worse.
That's a hard
I don't know if it is worse.
No, I think it is.
I
It's got
manage
no
to sit
pace.
through the whole thing.
It's
I've not
miserable.
managed to sit through the whole of RoboCop 3.
See, RoboCop 3, if you just take it as just a dreadful trash film, that's it, fine. RoboCop, the new one, bigged itself up hugely and basically it did try to live up to so much. Where are we up to? What next?
What about Big Trouble in Little China?
See, this is where I think I'm wrong, because I want to say it doesn't need doing.
Oh, we
But-
can put another one in the same basket as that, actually.
Yeah.
Escape from New York.
But I think it does need redoing for a modern audience.
Which one? Both?
Both of them.
Both of them.
Listening to it, friend of the podcast, who one day will not be busy enough to be on it.
Who's that?
Craig Marriott.
Hello?
Hello, you can. He texted me the other day. He was like, little big
Trouble in your Chinese.
I was going to say
Chinese,
Little Big
local
Planet,
Chinese.
and then Big Trouble in Little China. He's like, I was like, yeah, I'm going to show this to the girlfriend because it's like on Netflix. He sat down and she was like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, yeah, it hasn't held up well.
Right. So it could do with
I think it would
bringing
work,
to a new generation.
but it'd have to really cleverly cast.
Did it not only work at the time because of the age we lived in, though? Like, everything was a bit tongue-in-cheek and a bit...
It was massively 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So to try and hit... It could end up being another Ghostbusters.
Eesh.
Do you know what I mean? It's that same sort of ballpark, isn't it? It's supernatural. It's the all-American hero walks in and kicks the ass. But I say all-American unlikely hero, I should say.
Fucking truck driver.
Yeah.
True. Flash Gordon, you could stick that in the same basket as well. That's being done, apparently.
No, because Flash Gordon falls into a different category. It's not a remake of a movie; it's a retelling of an original story.
Yeah, true.
It's like the argument for that is the Coen Brothers' True Grit is not a remake of True Grit; it's a retelling of the book.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tricky ground there with
Flash Gordon.
The other one. If we go back to
Big Trouble.
And Escape from New York could work.
I've still never seen Escape from New York.
That could work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the story, but yeah.
Especially today with the whole sort of war on terror.
It could be a sequel to that.
Yeah, any of the like they are remaking Fahrenheit 451, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any of the films from that era, when they started getting like 1984 could do with remaking, but you wouldn't call it 1984.
I was going to say, it'd be
2084,
2084, wouldn't it?
24. Soylent Green. Is that... Yeah, it's Soylent Green, isn't it? The one with where there's only one food source, and then I'm sure it turns out to be that it's humans are the food source.
Right, okay. Logan's Run.
Logan's Run's
That's
being done.
getting a reboot, yeah.
Fucking... Actually, another one, put that on a list, that a remake would be really good, but Towering Inferno as well.
Towering Inferno, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I suspect they had an idea for that to be redone a long time ago, but
and they've had to
hold off.
Yeah.
And since then, it's
only gotten worse, to be fair.
Yeah.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, that's one I don't understand at all.
I didn't like the original very much.
No,
I didn't think it was a great...
It was funny if you were 12.
Yeah. See, the only way I could see them doing that now would be some sort of harder, nastier, sort of gangstery sort of edge type of thing. So it was more on the lines of one of the...
Like Hangover or something like that.
Something like that. Or I think it even more like an American version, like Snatch or something like that. That sort of has-been stupid gangster type of thing, but the end of the... Yeah. This is the way you could sort of do it now, so for older audience. But again, it'd be for the same audience it was meant to be for originally.
Yeah, sure.
So it would still be relevant.
It's one of those confusing movies that, immature humour, but aimed at an older audience.
Yeah, it was a weird one. It didn't really work.
Things I'd get annoyed for would be Back to the Future. Like, just leave that. Just never touch that at all. Just leave that.
I don't know. I think Rick and Morty's hit that. So that's.
Yeah, but Rick and Morty's so after about 3 episodes, are so far away from Back to the Future.
Yeah. But it's hit on it enough for me.
And please don't. Just leave Indiana Jones alone. I know they're not gonna, but just leave that alone as well. And the Goonies. Remake The Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
I think Gary Whitta, the guy who wrote Rogue One, I follow him on Twitter because he was the ex-editor of PC Gamer. He wrote Book of Eli as well.
Right.
and he did the first draft of Us After Earth as well.
That's not good.
Yeah, After
Earth is not actually.
Like, if you've written the first draft of a movie and it's not your fault when it comes out like that.
Yeah.
Is it?
Hang on a minute.
Oh, Paul's phone's ringing. Let's see who it is.
Is it your mum, Paul?
Probably is. Usually is. Oh, it's Adam this time. I'm going
Put him on speakerphone, mate.
Yeah. Hello there. So I'm just going to put you on speakerphone. We're on the podcast.
Oh, are you?
Hello.
Yeah. How are you getting on?
Oh, are you recording now?
We're recording right now.
You're on the microphone, and we're recording you right now.
Fuck's sake.
So our
Bit of time in there, innit?
our subject matter is films that have ruined your childhood. As in, like, you've seen rebooted and what have you. I can't think of anything off the top of my head for you other than, would you want to see a remake of Ace Ventura?
Oh,
See-
that ruined my childhood, though. I love that film.
Yeah, you love it, but imagine if it wasn't...
Up to scratch.
It wasn't up to scratch. If it falled on its arse, would you be incredibly disappointed?
Oh, so if they made a remake and
And it was
wasn't up to
dreadful.
scratch,
Yeah, how would you feel about that?
get them to make it again.
He'd probably get him in a headlock
Get
and
'em
make
to
him remake it.
twice.
Yeah, just get him in headlock and, yeah.
Can I say one thing about Adam's...
I think,
Go on.
No, there's a lot of childhood films, isn't there? There's question for that, though, really.
What about Fern Gully? Would you like to see that one redone?
Avatar, they've already done it.
Good point. Can I just say one thing about Adam's childhood? He's still living it.
I'm still a child, that's right. I'm the 25-year-old child.
You're not on your own, mate. You've got a 40-year-old one here. Right, I'm going to have to go. Got to get back to it. Thanks for your input.
You might enjoy having your little group session thing, your recording bits.
Thanks,
Well,
mate.
I've got my bone ready, so...
Playing with each other's knobs and that.
That's
you know,
it.
Yeah, ta-ra, you shit
each
out.
other's levels.
Later's your mothers. I'll speak to you in a
Right
bit.
then, lads. Take care. See you later.
Bye.
Boo.
Bye.
So there you go.
There you go.
You
Chris-
heard it here
external
first.
input.
Chris just going, I'm going to cut all that out.
No, I'm not. Right,
Just so you
okay.
can go special guest Adam Mountain.
That's right, yeah, just to pan it all over the internet. No, right, okay. Moving on.
Where were
Bloody
we?
Dungeons and Dragons.
What, you mean as in the cartoon
movie,
made...
A movie that's not going to go straight to DVD, hopefully, because out of the 4 that they've made,
Do you know what?
only 1 made it to the cinema.
No fantasy movie needs to be labelled Dungeons and Dragons, yeah? A remake, a movie of the premise of the cartoon is worth doing.
Yeah.
Vengeance Revenge.
I think kids getting on a fairground and ending up in fucking Narnia, basically.
Yeah, that works. And do you know what? That would probably tick all the boxes of a new Goonies without having to touch the concept of Goonies.
Maybe.
That could be the new Goonies if they played it well. If they did it right.
Every Which Way But Loose, I find that one a bit confusing, and Fantastic Voyage as well.
I don't see... It was very much of its time, wasn't it? Every Which Way But Loose.
Yeah.
I can't see people being comfortable with seeing an ape running around punching people out anymore, to be honest with you.
And they already remade Fantastic Voyage.
Did they?
It's called
Inner Space.
Space, mate. And that's a fantastic film.
That is actually really good.
Fucking brilliant, that
Yeah.
I
film.
apologise for Ross with his mouth full.
very hungover.
Speaking to you through your headphones.
Swearing crisps in your general
I
direction.
hope you're not one of those people who's phobic about people talking to you while they've got
It
food
is
in
a
their
thing,
mouth.
isn't it? Yeah.
It is, yeah, massively.
Imagine if we suddenly lose all our listeners just
Yeah.
because everyone's terrified of crisp noise.
Imagine.
If you're terrified of crisp noises, I don't want you to listen to this podcast.
No, don't say that. We definitely do want you.
I've got
We
a
just
bit.
want you to stop eating crisps, Ross.
I've got a bit of crisp filler. Don't worry. I'm quite happy with crisps.
Right.
Salt and vinegar squares.
Jumanji we know about.
Yeah.
That's apparently doomed to fail. I don't know.
I want to watch it
I want to watch it.
because it's got Dwayne The Rock Johnson in it.
It's getting lots of bad press all over the internet. People are just attacking it.
Yeah, it's people are idiots.
No.
Just get off the internet, all you knobheads.
Flight of the Navigator. That's a bit of a childhood bloody treasure, isn't it?
It is.
I reckon that's not as good as
No,
I think it is.
I agree. I think it's very much of its time. Same with. See, I don't think a new Gremlins would work. I don't think a new Critters would work.
They're talking about Gremlins.
What?
Short Circuit is happening.
See, I don't see that.
Bit of a darker take on it,
Darker twist.
apparently.
See, that's what they tried with RoboCop, and it fell flat on its arse.
Yeah, true.
It had
Yeah, but
no
they
life
tried
in
to
it.
make RoboCop darker, but the other one's one of the most goriest films ever,
Yeah.
and this was like a 12A.
Yeah, it was.
They tried to make it emotionally darker, didn't
Remember
they?
when
rather
RoboCop
than-
had a
And they
TV
did.
series, and when he shot people, they just sort of fell over funny.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I don't remember that.
I've got the box set at home. it's
RoboCop
great.
had a TV series?
Yeah, really
I've
bad.
never seen that.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Is it like Channel 5
And
or something?
you know,
Yeah,
that
worse
it's
than
just as
that.
bad.
Right.
They literally made a TV series of that bit in RoboCop 2 where he's in an advert.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's that bad.
Yeah.
There's a Detroit DCPD advert of RoboCop.
Yeah.
Like chasing kids around the playground.
yeah.
You know when they fill him up with like 4 million directives and he goes mad and he has to electrocute himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make an advert and he's like, "Stay in schools, kids." And yeah, that's what the
That's-
RoboCop TV show's like.
Okay.
Yeah, real
Very
cartoon
bad.
villains and everything. Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh, hang
Yeah,
on. Was it
Camp,
animated?
No. Oh, yeah. There was an animated
There was.
version.
I've seen.
Yeah.
Well, I seem to remember. something like that.
RoboCop and
So it was a
the
live-action TV
Ultra
series?
Squad, I think it was.
Right.
This was a
Weirdly-
live action one as well.
That's
Right.
just reminded me, weirdly, where's the next A-Team movie? Because I'm well up for another one of those.
Yeah.
Did that
I
work?
enjoyed that first one.
It was
you?
okay. Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
A bit
Yes.
leave your brain at the doory,
Yeah, a
but
bit Fast and Furious, but A-Team.
Right.
Yeah.
But then the A-Team was like that as well.
yeah, true.
Yeah, the original AT. Yeah, I don't think you're diluting anything from the original AT, mate. Let's face it.
Here's a list of
No,
things that aren't
true.
good enough to be remade. Airwolf, Street Hawk, that's all I can
Knight
think of
Rider?
off the top of it. Knight Rider.
Let's try this again. Highlander.
I think Highlander could do with a reboot, yeah.
I'm not sure how they. Yeah, did anybody get to see the final Highlander film, The Source?
The Source.
Well,
Which
yeah,
one's
just a
that?
complete reboot, Highlander.
Which one is it? Is it the one with the sorcerer?
No,
Or is that the third
it's
one?
going to the. It's basically getting to the last one. We know they keep saying there can be only one.
Yeah.
They get to the only one.
Right.
You find out who the only one is, and he goes to the source, which is the power.
Okay.
It's possibly the worst film ever made.
Right.
It's fucking terrible.
Who Wants to Live Forever?
Well, he certainly did, and I didn't when I was watching that film. It was fucking terrible.
When they reboot Highlander, can they not get the French guy to play the Scottish guy? And can they not get the Scottish guy to play the Egyptian guy?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
That's very, very, very good
So
point.
weird,
I've never
isn't it?
thought of that before. That's
He's
probably...
Sean Connery's pretty cool in that film.
He is, yeah.
Right up until the bit where he gets his head cut off in a castle.
Do you know what? I
In a
actually
thunder-
By a
Thunderstorm.
Kurgan.
I actually quite it's camp as Christmas, which is probably why I like it. But the TV series for the first few seasons, it was actually
The fact there's a few seasons.
oh god, there's about 8 or 9, and the source then takes the lead character from that film and goes on with that, and Duncan MacLeod becomes the source,
Right.
and it's just dreadful. It's
Highland Sauce.
yeah, that's the one.
Hello,
Fucking hell, we got
my
like
name is...
an hour and a half without a dad joke, and he's just like, yeah,
And then
Highland
pow!
sauce.
Out
One
of nowhere.
Bam, right in the kisser.
What's Sean Connery's character's name? Is it Juan Filolopo Ramirez or something?
Something like that, isn't it?
Hello, my name is Juan Filolopo Ramirez. At your service. And I am at your service. That's the one.
Things that can be rebooted that I think would be good if they were. I'm quite happy for there to be another Buffy.
Yeah. Well, considering the fact it fell apart really badly towards the end of the seasons, like after Joss Whedon left, I suppose, isn't it? He
Yeah.
fucked off to do other things. But then, do you mean more of like a spiritual sequel or reboot of the movie, the original film?
I know, I just mean like just make a new TV show
Just a
about
concept, reboot.
like Buffy.
Okay.
I like it.
A new TV show.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that. Put it on Netflix.
Don't
Don't
you
put it on normal telly. Just give me 10 episodes a year of that. I'll be all right for that.
Don't you think there's enough
Fine,
things out like that at the moment, though?
Another thing that could do with not so much, not necessarily rebooting, but because the concept was never finished, Firefly. Just remake it.
Yeah, they're talking about like just finishing it, aren't they? Properly and not like the whole weird movie ending rushed thing.
I'd be well up for a Starship Troopers as well.
That's already been spoken about. That's on my list. It's happening.
Yeah, I'll be bang up for that.
But again, would that suffer the same way RoboCop did?
No, I don't think it will, because I don't care about it as much as RoboCop.
Mm.
It's cheesier and campier than RoboCop.
That's what I mean, but would it lose that if it was a remake? Would it lose that level of... Do you know what I mean? It's a really good balance of cheesy campy, isn't it? And again, was that just of its era? Is that something that they just got right at that time?
I'm going to go out there and say I wouldn't mind some of the Bond films to be reimagined.
Wasn't the first Daniel Craig a reimagining, or...
Well, they never really told Casino Royale.
Did they not properly?
And it was never done.
Oh, no, it was comedy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was never done.
That's right, yeah.
It's like the first book, but they never made it, did they?
No.
It was never done as part of Eon, the company, the Broccolis. But yeah, I'm just sure some of the... If you could do it right, you could probably retell some of the... maybe From Russia With Love. Some of the more slightly serious ones.
Yeah.
Maybe the early Sean Connery ones.
I agree with that.
But if it came down to that, or having a new one, if you have the choice of you can have a remake or a new one every 3 years, you've just got to go with a new one.
However, they're going to run out of Fleming's stories at some point.
I think they have.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh, they're turning
there's
short
like
stories.
twice as many James Bond films as there are books at this point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's already gone that far, is it? Okay. Right, I'll pile through a few of these, like ones that don't make sense to me. I suppose Little Shop of Horrors, and Jacob's Ladder.
I don't know if that was... Depends
I think
how
that's
it's redone.
timeless, that film.
I agree with you, but I suppose it could be just redone faithfully to the original, just to bring it into a bit more of a context for today.
I just have this horrible kind of vision of it becoming like, I don't know, The Ring.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know, just a bit tacky and Americanized. Well, it's an American film, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Little Shop of Horrors, though. That's like remaking bloody... what's the one with Dr. Frankenfurter?
Oh,
the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
It doesn't need doing. It's of its time. And it's one of those films, it's not being portrayed in a particular time. Well, it is, but it's not the time relevant to that period of when it was being made. And it's so out of context from anything else. It sits in its own... It becomes timeless. It's in its own little world.
Yeah.
So it's not like that's out of date anymore.
I think that
it doesn't
happens
matter.
with almost all musicals, because by their very nature they're a little bit ethereal, aren't they?
Yeah, that's
they're
true.
detached.
Yeah.
Like you could think of a musical that you just go, oh, let's remake that. It'd be better. There's none.
This can't happen, can it?
You couldn't do it. Like it would make, like Oliver. It would make no difference if that film had a larger budget and London looked more like London, because it's basically just a theatre production put onto film, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very
and
true.
like Sound of Music, all of them.
Oh, Annie didn't work, did it? They
No,
tried.
well, yeah. They
tried
did
Annie,
remake
didn't they?
Annie, didn't
yeah,
they?
yeah. Right, Maniac Cop. We spoke about that just recently. I should have put that in the action bit.
Yeah, I don't see...
I don't see why not. I don't see why.
Why? It wasn't a strong enough film in the first place, was it? It was a bit of throwaway trash.
No. He-Man we know about, and The Matrix we know about.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not holding much hopes for He-Man. I
No?
don't see how
It can't
it
be
would
much
work.
worse than the original.
Well, no, but again, I don't think that worked very well, and I think it only worked animation-wise, and it was of its time, wasn't it? I mean, everything was bigger, better, bolder. The goodies were so much goodier, and the baddies were so much eviler. I mean, that's the 80s, and that's where it belongs, really. I don't see how it would translate.
Fair enough. Naked Gun, for the same reason, I suppose.
Again, I don't see... I mean, I can see how the humour has dated now, but I don't see how that concept could translate in today's humour. I don't think it would work.
That's going to happen, apparently.
Yeah.
Police Academy as well.
No, I don't see it working.
Police Academy could work. Police Academy could work as long as they assemble the right cast and the right writers.
It's just going to end up like Chips. I watched Chips the other day. Oh my god, it's so bad.
Painful, yeah.
But 21 Jump Street's the other side to that argument.
Yeah, this is true. In actual fact, 21 Jump Street is a much better version of the original story, though. Did you see the TV show?
What, 21 Jump Street?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, yeah. It was quite serious and, young adult kind of drama. Whereas I can't... Well, in actual fact, I do know where the relationship is, because 21 Jump Street originally was a high school thing. And they're going back into high school as cops. aren't they?
To
In
find
the
all
film.
drugs, because the kids are doing drugs.
Yeah. But yeah, Chips is awful. I managed to get through the whole thing, and some of the jokes land, but like 98% of them do not at all.
Yeah.
It's painful. Right, okay. So Time Cop as well. That's being remade.
Yeah,
Again, that doesn't matter because it's a film that no one cares about, is it?
yeah, exactly. They could do whatever they want with that, and
Take the concept and run with it.
yeah.
And before I go and list off a flipping load more without us discussing them, here's something that will confuse you. Bloody Mulan. We've realised that that's going to be a Disney film at some point in the near future, a live-action version. Sony are doing one as well.
What?
Again, because this is not a property owned by Disney.
That's
but
right.
Like
It's a
how The
traditional
Little
story.
Mermaid is being remade. There's a live action Little Mermaid. It's nothing to do with Disney because it's a fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen.
So is this a thing now where they're taking all the classic animations Disney and just making live act? It seems to be that's what they're doing.
Do you know,
Everything
well,
they've done.
yeah, we spoke about this loads, but the one that weirds me out is how many Peter Pan movies are there? There's fucking hundreds of them.
Yeah.
I swear there's a different version of Peter Pan like every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that's true.
But going back to that, how do you feel about? Because I'm not a big Disney fan at all. But how do you quite like Disney, don't you? How does it make you feel about seeing all these?
I didn't care when I saw the Jungle Book, and I was so pumped when I heard that they were going to do the Lion King because the Jungle Book, the live action Jungle Book's brilliant,
Right.
and I was like, yes, Lion King's going to be fucking incredible because let's be honest, Lion King's better than Jungle Book, and then I watched the live action Beauty and the Beast, and I was just like, it's all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just.
But you don't feel it's spoiling your childhood in any
No,
way?
it
It's
doesn't
not
matter.
ruined anything.
Actually,
You've
it's
still
quite
got
good because
fondness
what it's
for-
doing is reintroducing kids to the story.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Is that the way to go, though? Do you think live action now is the way to go for kids of today, or would animation be better? Should they stuck to a maybe a reimagining animation-wise?
No, because then you're saying that we need to remake, and most of the Disney films are masterpieces.
Well,
so
this is what I'm wondering. Are they? Or I mean, like I say, I'm impartial with Disney. I can
that's
appreciate what they are, but
I think that's the argument for not messing around with any Disney movies. Is they're all pretty much perfect,
right.
especially their animations. They don't make bad animations, do they?
They've been known to make a couple of good ones, haven't they?
Like all of them.
So, so just to finish this off, really, let's just have a big list of like other stuff that we've not spoken about, and we don't have to discuss them at all. But these are also movies that may or may not surprise you, and may or may not affect you as well. It we know about, I think. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Firestarter, A Prophet, if anyone's aware of that movie. The original is fucking amazing. The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock, which I completely agree with, definitely needs a reboot. Clue, if anyone remembers that film.
A pointless film.
It's Cluedo. But how are they going to do the multiple endings?
No idea. Cube, don't see the point in that. Das Boot,
Don't see the point in that.
weird.
Das Boot is one of the finest war movies ever made.
Absolutely.
It is fucking incredible.
And
But I wouldn't
there's
wanna
already a
watch
remake, isn't
of
there?
it. No.
Yeah, there is, isn't there?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
They shot so much footage they extended it into a TV miniseries.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking
That's
about.
what you're thinking of.
Ah.
But actually the way to watch it is the director has done a cut of the movie. So there's a super long movie length cut that's not the TV miniseries that he's most happy with, and it's like 3.5 hours long. But
That's the one I've seen, I
it's
think.
fucking amazing.
Such tension. It's unbelievable. So yeah, June, we know about that one as well.
The guy in Das Boot is in June, isn't he? The captain of the boat is the head of House Atreides.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ah,
Can't
interesting.
remember his name.
The Fugitive, Flatliners, Green Hornet, The Grudge.
The Green Hornet's already
done.
been made.
Yeah,
it's
just
about-
recently, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really
it's
good
about-
as well. It's funny.
10
Yeah.
years ago?
Yeah, not quite 10 years
Was it
ago,
not?
but it's good.
Seth Rogen, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's funny. I like that.
Okay. The Howling, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That could do with a decent version anyway. Memento, bloody weird.
I don't see the point in that one.
No. Nosferatu, a decent vampire
Just
film would be all
vampires,
right,
yeah.
wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Pet Sematary, another Stephen King.
possibly.
Pumpkinhead,
Is The Stand still being done?
don't know. Didn't notice it on the list I was reading earlier. Red Sonja, Resident Evil, Roadhouse, Scarface,
Roadhouse.
Seven Samurai.
Yeah, no, just fuck off. It's
Yeah.
an absolute masterpiece, one of the greatest films.
Why
ever
would you
made.
do it?
Reimagine it, tell it as a different story in Star Wars.
What's the point of Roadhouse? The original was bollocks.
Loads of people really like it, don't they?
I don't get it.
It's
Roadhouse.
just a movie about a bouncer.
Yeah.
It's fucking boring.
Boring.
Do you think Seven Samurai is being remade because people are less likely to watch a foreign language movie from 50 years ago? Or more, actually. Is it 1940s?
Yeah, but nobody's going, oh, let's remake Citizen Kane.
True.
Or going, oh, let's remake It's a Wonderful Life.
True.
But fuck
There's
me,
like
that's
some-
you've got to live up to that. I mean, you
Yeah, but
can't
Seven
do that.
Samurai
and fuck
falls
that up,
into
can
that
you?
category, doesn't
suppose
it?
it does, but-
it is the zenith of filmmaking from a particular culture. Like, it's the finest movie of a nation.
Mm.
Yeah, it literally fits in that category of like it is. It's a cinema-changing piece of cinema.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the story's good, so reimagine it. It's almost. Oh, why not retell it as a western? Twice.
Twice.
Star Wars, Jedi's, lightsabers, Sith, Seven Samurai,
Boom.
Seven Jedi, done.
That'd be
It
amazing.
writes itself, that script. It's just Seven Samurai, Seven Jedi fighting off an army of Mandalorians, which are the Boba Fett dudes.
Yep.
Done. I'll write that script.
Do it. Go and write it. Didn't they already do it for an animated TV show?
Yeah, it's all right. It's not a great version, but it's
Is it
all
not? Okay. Right. Shaft, Splash, Stargate we know about, Strangers on a Train. That's a weird one to
Krull?
remake.
Did Krull make it on your list?
The Crow?
Krull.
Krull. Are they remaking it?
I don't know. They should do.
Yeah, that'd be a good one, wouldn't it? Stuart Little, Suspiria, Sword in the Stone. That's probably going to be the next Disney live action, isn't it? The Fly, Time Cop, we said before. Tomb Raider, we know about. Toxic Avengers, Paul. That's one of your old-time faves, isn't it?
Yeah, it depends where they go with it. It's originally a comic book, wasn't it?
I remember it as a cartoon.
Before that, it was, I think, could have been a comic book. The film was fairly tacky adult humour. It was almost edging porn,
right.
softcore porn.
Yeah, you've said that before. Yeah.
It's pretty bad, but it is what it is, and it depends where they go with it. The original wasn't great, but it got cult following status because of how bad and good it is at the same time. The concept's just a great, ridiculous concept.
Yeah.
It could work if it was well written. The original wasn't well written, so they could do something completely new with that idea, which could work.
True.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Van Helsing, War Games, The Warriors, sadly Weird Science, White Men Can't Jump, and Zorro.
There's a lot of films on there. I just think, why even bother?
Again, Zorro doesn't count, does it? Because it's just a retelling.
Yeah.
True.
Weird Science, leave that film alone.
Leave it alone, get off
The problem
it.
is, who are you going to cast in the lead role? You're uncastable at this point.
It's
And also, you can't... That
it's
film,
of its time, isn't it?
Yeah, it would fall very flat in...
Yeah.
I think we've moved on past the sort of humour from that film.
Yeah.
Like, let's make our boobies really big. But
Yeah,
more
yeah.
than a handful is a waste.
You'd like to think
Like,
that,
gags
but
like that just wouldn't...
you'd like to think that, but Chips is full of humour like that.
Oh, just fuck off.
It was like, in places, it kind of made me think. It made me feel uneasy.
Mm.
You know, because it's just a bit tactless and tasteless.
See, the reason I think those films stand up now, still, the ones that were made in the 80s, they were funny back then, but now they're funny because they were funny back then.
Yeah.
And now you're laughing at them for a different reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Retrospectively.
Yeah. And I think on that level, that's why they work. And you try retell that today with the exact same sort of elements of humour, it doesn't hit home. It's just a bad film.
Fair enough.
So
Monty Python's a brilliant example of that, isn't it?
yeah,
Like, you try and show that to a modern audience, and it's probably bullshit.
Well, do you know what? It didn't work. Do you see the anniversary show? And
Yeah.
they reacted, a lot of them, live on stage.
Yeah.
It just missed the mark
It
completely.
was horrible,
It was
wasn't it?
dreadful. But if you go back and watch the original, there was a different energy with that series. It still stands up to today.
Yeah.
But live, it just didn't work. It was embarrassing. But hey. There you
Agreed.
go.
So anyway, that list is not necessarily stuff that's ruining our childhood. I just thought it might be interesting for you guys to know what is actually heading your way. All of those films, everything we've listed and spoken about on this podcast, those are all films that are in production in some way, shape or form.
What I'd like to know is anybody writing original new scripts anymore? If there's so many films there being remade,
Yeah.
is anybody coming up with any original new concepts anymore?
This is
for
true.
films? There's some great original old concepts there. Where's the new ones?
Does any of it bother us? Does it ruin our childhood? Does it?
To
No, it doesn't.
summarise.
It just gives us something to get angry
It
about
doesn't,
on
but
a Monday
I
afternoon.
I hate to say it, certain things, like the obvious, I'm not even going to mention it, it does taint slightly what I enjoy to a point.
Sure.
It does put a little bad taste on it. It puts a little tinge, but I still love. I'm still sensible enough to draw a line and say this is this and this is something separate. It just happens to have the same name.
The problem with I know we go over this.
We're not going to. It's a good example in this sense.
The problem with Transformers is they're so bad because the potential for them to be so good.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
Yeah. True. That's what makes you sore.
Giant robots that turn into other things.
yeah, and they've got
Just-
almost the same sort of backstory now and history is almost like Star Wars does.
You
It's
just-
got the same sort of universe.
Do you know the first movie just shouldn't even have ended up on Earth? It should just have been the Transformers origin story.
But that's never going to happen because it's not playing to that audience. And if they played for the audience, the geeks that love it, it would never pull in the numbers, I don't think.
Yeah, but everything Marvel ever do says differently.
True.
Yeah,
They made an Ant-Man movie.
yeah.
So, and a bloody good one as well.
Yeah, it wasn't actually all that bad.
Yeah. That's a good review from you, Paul.
Yeah. It's not bad,
That's a recommendation.
It is.
That's Paul giving it 5 minutes out of 5. Yes.
I did get up and walk out at one point, but, I came back to it with a cup of tea and thought, I'll watch the last bit. So, yeah, that's average 3 for a modern film. Yeah, go and watch it if you've, got nothing to do on a Sunday.
Right, let's wrap this up. Can I
Cool.
just say one thing?
Go on.
Whoever is downloading all of our podcasts in California, drop us some sort of message and say why.
Or hi.
Or just say hello, but sorry. Like,
What on earth are you doing out there?
I'm looking at our analytics, and like a third of our listeners are in California, which is mental.
It's really odd.
1/3.
Well, 1/3 of our downloads are coming from California.
Oh, okay.
So
snewwiththecrew@gmail.com. That's where you find us. Or our Facebook page, of course.
Before they ask,
Snew with the
it's
crew.
always raining over here. That's Britain. Just ask us something different.
There's going to be a shed load of news next week, actually. As looking at stuff today on some of my news feeds, there's going to be a shed load to talk about. So by the time you've listened to this podcast, you'll have picked up on quite a lot of it. If you want to ask us any questions or get involved with the conversation, please do. Drop us a line. That'd be amazing.
Yep.
Right, let's bloody wrap it up. Paul, where can we find you?
Oh, the usual places. Skulking around, poking at stuff I shouldn't. And on my shop, Rocket Punch Collectables, and Curious City. Have a little look. I've got some curious stuff popping up soon.
Both of which are linked on our on the feed below.
Indeed.
And on our Facebook page.
Indeed.
So go and find them. Buy yourself some funky stuff from Paul shops.
Oh, they're not I've cleaned them all. They're not that funky.
Ross,
It's all well looked after.
where can we find you?
Find me on PlayStation Network. Name's Rosscobaby. That's 2 S's, COBABY.
Also linked below. How's this Instagram thing going?
I'm just going to say, we're SNEW with the crew, all one word on Instagram. I'm going to put some shit up this week. Now I've got a little
What?
gap
No, you don't
in
mean
my
that. Okay.
busyness.
A gap in your business.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's another
people.
toilet joke, isn't it?
Help him fill it. Send us lots of questions and help Ross fill his busy
Business.
hole. Yeah, his business.
And me, you can find me editing a podcast. And, well, actually, you can find me in North Wales for the next week. I'm going away on holiday. But don't worry,
mental.
you'll still have podcasts to listen to regularly. You'll be fine.
You can find Adam not on the podcast.
No, yeah, not this week, but fingers crossed we'll have him back again in
Monday,
2 weeks' time.
Tuesday, whenever.
When we're actually recording next, which is going to be in a fortnight, but yeah.
I don't know where we are anymore. It's all got a bit Doctor Who. I
It
don't
has
know
a
what
bit-
timeline we're on.
It's a bit timey-wimey at the moment. Right.
Is this Back to the Future Part 2 or 3? I don't know if I've got to go home on foot or on a horseback.
Are you wearing a Stetson?
You should go on a hoverboard. It's the way to travel.
Yeah. I wish they were real. Them and lightsabers.
What, at the same time, that could be quite dodgy.
Imagine the carnage.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you've been up to Ross, oh fuck, man.
I always think I'm glad lightsabers don't exist when I go shopping like Southampton at Christmas. I'd literally would just cut swathes. I don't care. The buggies, everything. I'll just be like...
straight in half a lot.
I'd just be swinging it horizontally.
We just stopped to check whether or not they were fans of Jar Jar Binks
I
first.
can't remember who it was. I think it was an ex-girlfriend who was like, what about if you had like a thing on your head that span round and you just had lightsabers on top of it, like 4 or 5 lightsabers on top of it, and then you could just like mow your way through. It's like something from Rick and Morty, isn't it?
Yeah, lightsaber death copter helmet.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Nice.
That's what I want for Christmas.
Right.
Anyone out there fancies designing that?
Chris, tell
Crack
us
on.
about all of our things.
Oh, yes. So you can find our podcast, of course, on Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube. The podcast up on your phone. Anyone?
Somebody...
iTunes.
We need another review on iTunes, please. Somebody, anyone.
You can search for SNEW with the Crew on Google, for instance, and find a load there. The snooze button and Just Another Retrocast are both available on the same feed. So, yeah, check out some of our other shows. You've been a listener. We've been SNEW with the Crew. Say goodnight, guys.
Ta-ra, people.
Ta-ra, shitters. Goodbye.
Catch you next time.
Oh,
Bye.
goodbye, people over the pond.
Cheerio.
Ta-ra.